Face not recognised. Good morning. It is Saturday, the 6th of May, and I'm back in the brewery making beer for your entertainment. 3 videos in quick succession. What about that, you lucky people? Today is Coronation Day. It'll probably be on in the corner, but I'm not particularly obsessed about the royal family, to be honest, but I'll watch and see what's going on. While we're doing that, we've got a bit of an interesting one today because I'm going to, for the first time, drum roll please, attempt 3 brews in one day. So it's going to be a late one as well. Technically not 3, well it is 3 brews, but technically 2 batches. So we're going to do a double brew into Big Bertha in the corner. That's not a name, I just said that. Into Big Bertha in the corner, and it's going to be Get Lucky, more Get Lucky than I actually need, but we're going to do some experiments. We've found that Get Lucky is working quite well in cask. We only did it as a bit of a laugh for the tap takeover at the King's Lock, and it was really good. Since then, we've sent one down to Bridge Street Ale House. They've got it on at the moment, so I think that might be something that we do in future, is to cask a bit and keg a bit. It seems to work both ways. American Pale, that's the 5.8 one. So we're going to do effectively enough for 20 kegs, but we're going to cask a bit, and some of the kegs I'm going to carbonate, get them to drop clear, and then we're going to bottle from the carbonated kegs using either counter pressure filler, or I'm looking at the duo filler at the moment. If you've got one, let me know what you think. I know it's not a volume thing. They're not designed for a lot of bottles, but we don't make a lot of bottles, right? So it'll be a couple of hundred at a time. I think it's going to be perfect. Just concerned about the temperature you need for bottling so you don't lose the carbonation, etc. But I'm researching it anyway. And I pinged a message over to the guys at Duo Filler to see if they can give me some guidance. So that's that. So 2 brews. And then if there's time, and if there's not time, I'm prepared to call this off until tomorrow or Monday. We're going to do a batch of cross stout because I've got the last cask going out to also Bridge Street in Newcastle, middle of next week. And I wasn't planning to do stout through the summer because kind of psychologically I don't drink stout in the summer. But talking to Grum at Bridge Street, he's like, I can't get stout in the summer. We want stout in the summer. So I'm just going to do 8 and see how it goes. We've certainly sold 8 over the last 10 weeks, probably. So it is selling in the spring. We'll just have to see. It's not the end of the world if it goes slowly. It does keep quite well. So we'll get a batch of that done as well. So hopefully we can get all that done today, and then I don't have to brew them for a couple of weeks. We've just got a lot of racking to do then. And we'll be chasing empties because I got all those back last week, but a lot of them are used now. I think I've got 28 empties, casks. And I've got kegs as well. We might be okay. I'll send Elliot on his travels to go and scour pub car parks for casks for us. So we're sort of set up. Water is the issue. In the HLT over here, which has heated up successfully to 72.2 degrees overnight. It is currently, by the way, 7:35 a.m. I know, and I'm so pumped this early in the morning. So in here currently we have approximately 250 litres of water, which is coming up to, well, I'm going to try and get it to 75 degrees before I've even mashed in. We'll get that water up to temperature. We will mash in the first batch, which is going to take me about 220 litres, I think. I'll check the recipe in a minute. And then I'm going to replace that water that we've taken and transfer this back over to fill it again. Once we've done that, I can do the second mash. I might not have enough for the second sparge, but by which time we'll have transferred the first brew into the fermenter and we'll have recovered hot water ready to sparge the second turn, if that makes sense. It does to me, so we should be okay. But without that hot water in there now, before we mash, it ain't going to be up to temperature. I did a quick calculation. 220, 230-ish litres is going to take me about an hour and 24 minutes to get up to temp in this. So I've set an alarm for 30 minutes. We can mash in then, and then during that hour, we'll get up to 75, transfer, and then transfer to the HLT, and then transfer from the mash tun into the copper. I don't know what I'm doing. We'll work it out. Right, somebody, I can't remember who, I'm sorry. I've got a terrible memory for names and faces and birthdays and stuff. But somebody asked me how these tapes work, see me tearing them off, and they're like, how do you do that? I'll show you. So this little tape arrangement, you've got the back tape here and a middle tape, this one here, and then you've got this white tape on the top. And I'm probably going to need two hands for this, but so you just grab that one and pull it across, but I need two hands, so I'm going to do it now. Hang on. So holding the clear tape, take the white tape and just pull. Off it comes. They go into the pocket. Got shorts on today, look at them legs. And then we chuck it in as carefully as we can. Checking it is actually the right malt before we do so. Crushed Clear Choice Pale. We were chasing gravity last time with this brew. We got there, but we were chasing gravity, and I think I mentioned in the last video we sort of missed it. We're a bit high the first one, bit low the second one, hoping the third one would be bang on, and we were a little bit lower than I wanted. So I'm just upping the grain a bit more because I know I can recover it with the second brew. If we're over, I'll use a bit less grain. If we're under, I'll use a bit more grain. So I'm just doing 3 full sacks now. 75 kilos. I think it was 72 last time I did it. I took 3 out. Crushed Clear Choice Pale. In you go. My mum did a mum thing the other day. Hi mum, if you're watching. All that dust when you're putting the grain in. She doesn't talk like that, by the way. All that dust. All that dust. My mum did a mum thing the other day. She rang me and said, you should be wearing a mask in there with all that dust. And she's quite right, I probably should. But it's just one more thing to forget where I've put. So I just try not to breathe instead. Where's my big weighing bowl gone? See what I mean? It's a giant stainless steel bowl, you can't miss it. Oh, there it is. Zero. Crystal 100, 5 kilos. Now you see what I did with this one? I opened it upside down with a knife because I'm an idiot. Crystal 100, that's 4. And another 1 kilogram. And we're done. Just some water additions to go in then. Did the water check again recently, barely changed. In fact, a little bit less minerals than previously, so we just increased the salts by a teeny bit. in. Right. Tick. Okay, next is 235 litres of water. 235. I'll be all right. Two, three, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Set. Okay, we are ready to rock. Valve is closed, grain is in, salts are in. Valve is open. Some bubbling going on there. It's the air coming out the pipe. Right, so actually I haven't run this pump yet. Oh God. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Airlocked. It's airlocked. Bugger. Let's get a bit of air out. That is now full of water. That's not good, is it? Right. Let me show you what I've done. There you go. This wire was just hanging underneath. That connects to this little solenoid thingy, which stops or starts, allows the flow of water. So I now need to work out which of these terminal blocks it went into, because I've got no idea. Right, this power panel is on, so I'm going to be very, very, very careful. I just want to look at the wire colours. Right, what is actually happening here then? How did I wire this? Yes! So most of you will find this completely uninteresting, but I'll tell you anyway. This little solenoid valve here requires 12 volts, and when a voltage is applied to it, the valve opens and it will allow water to pass through. If there's no voltage, it remains closed, and that was what was happening. The pump was firing, but it couldn't get past the solenoid, so lucky we didn't have another blowout. Although that will fail under a certain amount of pressure anyway. And the reason for that was when we were moving the tank round the other day, I've snagged the wire and pulled it out of the terminal blocks here. I'll tidy these up again in a minute now I know it's working. It's only 12 volts. This Digi10 water controller, when I press go, sends 12 volts down the wire. I use that signal to trigger the relay in there, which then sends mains voltage to the pump down there, and also the same 12 volts is used to open the solenoid. So when the pump's running, the solenoid should open. When the pump stops, the solenoid should close. There you go. Right, I better stir this mash. Might be all right. Get the lid on. It's 64 point something, but there's really no room for me to add any more hot. Show you. As you can see, we are brimmed. I was talking last night to a lovely man called Shane Swindles, or Swindells. You know what? I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Formerly of Cheshire Brew House in Congleton, and has now moved his business into kind of brewery consultant and brewery optimization. you might say. So we're having a chat because I'm not happy with these lids, or the lid that I've got on here now. It served its purpose, but you've probably noticed I cover it in foil tape, and that's really just to make it easy to clean. My camera's actually on it now, so I'm gonna have to move the camera. Hang on. Yeah, they're not the best. I've covered them in foil tape for ease of cleaning, just to keep them nice and sanitary, but the tape peels off and it's a bit rubbish really. So I've asked Shane to quote me for some, I call it phenolic ply, he called it Weezerboard, something like that. Anyway, but it's plywood basically, but with a waterproof coating, or a layer bonded to it, so I can just plonk it on there, stick a handle through the top or something. Should make it a lot better than what we've got. Whether or not we go for the third mash or the second brew, however you want to refer to it, will really depend on the temperature of the water coming out of that heat exchanger and how long it's going to take me to get that water up to 75-ish, 72 again to mash in. The stout needs a higher temp, so I probably need 75. So it's not going to be ideal. Right, we've given that a stir. Yeah, it's not going to be ideal if we can't get that tank full again at about 75. We are currently at, in here, oh, we're not far off now. 67.68. Right. This floor is covered in grain dust again. It just never ends. It looks filthy. It's not, it's just grain. Or flour. Get it pressure washed in a bit. I'll show you the casks we've collected as well since the last lot. That last lot have all been washed and they've been used or on this pallet here, but this is what's ready to be washed again. It never ends, the cleaning. God save the king and all that. And yes, I've got a TV license, don't start. We are transferring. I need to check my calculations because I thought this should be 1072 in there. Obviously diluted then to get it into there, but I'm a little bit low. But that's all right, I can make it up on the next one. Use a little bit less sparge water to bring this one up. I don't know if it's the mash efficiency's off or something. I didn't misweigh the ingredients because it was full sacks, so we'll work it out as we go along. That's currently spraying in at 75, so we are currently all good. Time check, 9:42. Bags of time, he says, waiting for it all to go wrong. Right, it is 11:46. We have dug out mash 1, refilled with mash 2. We are somewhere halfway on the water situation, and the first brew is coming up to a boil, just about there. So I'm going to scoop all the crud off the top, and we'll set the timer 30 minutes, first hops in. Meanwhile, I'm going to give that another blast with the jet washer and get it sanitized, ready for the wort. Okay, transferring turn 1 of the double Get Lucky into fermenter 3. We're about a third of the way down, I think, so a little while to go. Just prior to turning the pump on to transfer that over, because what that starts to do is to introduce cooling water into the HLT. The HLT was already at about 75, so we mashed with that and got ourselves to about 66 degrees, 66.5 degrees, which is a little bit warm, but I can live with that. So that's mashed in, and then as soon as the water was transferred, we started the transfer and turned on the water supply to the heat exchanger to transfer the water into the HLT, which is now filling, and we're currently at somewhere around 250 litres. at 71.8. So this is looking very, very promising, possibly for a third brew. It's currently 1 p.m. So just thinking this through, it is currently 1:16, right? And this is the one we want to think about. This mash is on now, so that's going to be done about 2 o'clock, let's say, probably before, or thereabouts. Once this is drained fully, and we're about 2/3 of the way down now, I've got to give it a quick clean because the heating elements are going to be caked in crud, and I don't want any burn in the beer. So we're going to have to clean the elements, power wash, pressure wash the inside. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're immediately going to go to boil again. So let's say that's going to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So 2 o'clock, so 2:15 we can start the transfer across and the sparge. It's going to take us to 3 o'clock. We've got an hour to come up to the boil. That's 4 o'clock. We've got an hour's boil. That's 5 o'clock. At that point, when we're ready to transfer at 5 o'clock, I could mash in again at 5 p.m. So we're going to have an hour's mash, 6 p.m. Transfer, 6:45. An hour to come up to the boil, 7:45. An hour for the boil, 8:45. And then 45 for transfer, 9:30. Clean up, 10 o'clock. Home for 10:30. Hello, darling. I'm all right, thanks. How are you? If I do this third brew, it's about 10:30. I'm home. What am I going to do about tea? What, are you going to starve to death? Well, I don't know. I'm trying to decide, you see, in the interests of peace and harmony. Would you rather I came back or rather I got it done? Okay, well, thanks for helping me make no decision whatsoever. Cheers. Okay, I'm going to do that then. Thank you. All right. Yeah, no probs. Love you. Bye. Bye-bye. We're going home after this double. That's what's happening. I couldn't decide. I needed someone else to make the decision for me. Still haven't cleaned them. And Elliot has kindly loaded cow food into the back of the truck. This is the best thing I ever bought. Can you remember? It wasn't so long ago we were trying to get it in the back of a Beamer. Ridiculous. Anyway, 3 in there. I think we'll get the other 3 in as well. I'm perhaps not going to wash these today. I might, once the boil starts, I might come out and get the labels off and that, I think. So we are well into turn 2. As you probably heard when I called Sarah, she has given me the evening off. She's not bothered if I come in the morning. We were planning to do a few things together, but we've got Monday as well, so that's good. So I'm going to come back and do the other brew in the morning. So currently we are sparging. It's not spinning. Why is it not spinning? Because it's too much in there, that's why. Right, turn it down a little bit. As soon as these elements are covered, we'll get the heaters on. Just thinking about the time, currently we are at 2:19, so we should have that transfer done by well before 3 o'clock. An hour to come up to the boil is 4 o'clock, an hour on the boil is 5 o'clock. Transfers about 45 minutes, 5:45. Clean up, go home for 6:30-ish. Uh, 4:26. Turn 2. Mashed, sparged, cleaned. On the boil. And been boiling for about 10 minutes or so. Another 20 minutes, get the first hops in. 10 minutes after, second hops. 10 minutes after, third hops. Cool down, transfer, tidy up, go home. I'll be back in the morning. Good morning. It's Sunday already. Went home. Ordered a Chinese meal. Drank a lovely beer that Ed from Crew, one of our homebrew gang bunch. He's a really good brewer, and he's made this 3% table beer that tasted like 4.5–5%. It was brilliant. He brought a bottle around for me yesterday, so dead impressed with that. I'd steal his recipe, but I think he's got plans to maybe make it commercially. Today, we are making cross stout. Marisotta, wheat malt, caramel 30, naked malted oats, crystal 240, chocolate malt, roasted barley, 7 malts, a little touch of water treatment, gypsum, Epsom, 254 litres, 68 degrees, and we should finish this mash around 1067 before sparge. So let's get it in. Water's up to temp. That's brilliant. I mean, the water was almost up to temperature before we left yesterday because of the heat exchangers, so it's a really efficient use of that heat that we've got. If I left it till next weekend, that would cool right down, and we'd have to pay electricity charges to bring it back up to temp again. So if you can brew consecutive days, really save some money. I've not done the calculations lately, but it used to cost me, I think it was about 15 quid to heat that every time we heat it, and that was every week. So, you know, these extra brews, if we can squeeze them in, really useful. Sorry, Mum. I'll explain what I'm doing. So all of the pale-ish malts, plus a good chunk of rice hulls, because there are oats in this, it gets a bit sticky, are in this bag, pre-weighed. So that is 5 wheat, 5 Cara 30, 4 malted oats, 3 crystal 240. And the dark roasted malts, the chocolate and the roasted barley, are in there, and I'm not putting those in until later in the mash because I don't want to extract the bitterness from the roasted malts. Water treatment's also weighed out ready. Gypsum and Epsom salt. My gypsum's gone a bit clumpy. Just crush that up a bit. Okay. I was just thinking, 74.7 degrees in the HLT right now is a bit warm, but actually this is 68 degree mash, so that's okay. If I was doing a 66, I'd drop that down to about 72.5. Okay, 254, go! $67 in the middle. 66, yeah, definitely needs a bit more. Where are we now? Let's have a look. 68.2. 68.2. 68.2. 68 point. Shit. 3. Right, come out for a breather. It's getting a bit sweaty in there with the heat from the equipment, and I've been moving stuff around. The malt's just there temporarily while I clear some space, but I'm just trying to get back to that position where we had that middle area free. It was a mistake putting that table at 90 degrees again. Really didn't work. So just while we're mashing, we've gone back to that orientation. So I'll give you a little preview of that once we're done. I've just capped the mash with the roasted malts. I'm just going to stir those in now. I just chucked them in before I went outside with the camera. So we'll stir those in just for the last 15 minutes. so we don't get that bitterness and astringency from them, but we do get the flavour and the colour. Okay, I'm just starting to transfer. Not spinning the spinny thing yet because we're not quite low enough, but you'll see we've got a lovely, very dark wort transferring, and it smells ace in here, like coffee and chocolate, and beautiful. I feel like a stout now. It's 10:32 on Sunday. It's still going. It's still going. Oh my God. It can't be live. Is this yesterday? I don't even know if it's a repeat or if it's like, he's off on his honeymoon or whatever new kings do. I've got no idea. We are rising to a boil. With my food safe shovel, I will just show you what we got going on. Oh, I'll scoop that off in a minute. Look at the colour of that. Beautiful. I better scoop the crud off. Scooping off, you don't have to scoop off, I find, or skim, but I tend to. I mean, we protoflock anyway, which chops all this rubbish out at the end, but I've got nothing else to do right now, just tidying up. Might as well. Is that the Champions League music? Or is it Camilla getting crowned? Queen Camilla. Still going. Right, tidying up's look at that malt now. There's hardly any left. Time to reorder, I think. I've got 3 extra pale, 5 Marisota, and then all my other bits and pieces, oats and wheat and caramalts and stuff. Yeah, we're about due. There's definitely enough for another Mergy. And then I'm quite far ahead with brewing then, so I think I can afford to take a few weekends where I'm not brewing, do some other stuff. Hence, getting that table back round there. This is just a trolley, but if I just whiz that out of the way, we've got all this space back now, which is really what I wanted. Once we get those casks moved. Bit more grain for Jonny. The truck's full actually. I'm gonna have to work out how to get those in as well in a second. Bag full of rubbish, been cleaning up, moved all the casks. Just got them as close to the door as I can to free up a bit of space. I'm not sure if I showed you these. These are version 2 of the bottles. And how clear, if you can see how clear that is. There you go. Crystal clear. There's a little bit of sediment. Just been speaking to, by email, just been speaking to Stig at Joe Filler in Norway, and I'm buying one of their little gadgets, so we'll get it set up over there somewhere. Yeah, so my question to Stig was about temperature, because obviously if the beer's warm and you're using their filler, there is a risk. Something's ringing. Brew, so, flock. We are in the last 15 minutes of the boil. I've just cranked the heat back up again. Woof. Just cranked the heat back up again, and I've got this pump running just to sanitize all the pipes and hoses and heat exchanger. Let's get these other hops in. 3 minutes late. I'll run the boil on for an extra 3 minutes then in that case, or 2. And then we will transfer into fermenter 2, which I cleaned last time we emptied it, and I've just sanitized with a good dose of peracetic acid. Excuse me. And no burns. Marvellous. Charlie's still going. What time is it? Is it really necessary for BBC News to show the whole thing real time again on Sunday? Seriously, it's on iPlayer. I've just swapped a few emails with Stig from Duo Filler, DUO Filler in Norway, because I need to move away from these bottles with sediment in. I don't mind them, and I know you guys who are watching this probably don't mind a little bit of sediment either. But I really want to start putting some bottles into bottle shops and pubs here. And I know what will happen. People will just be swigging out the bottle and complaining it's cloudy. So I've got to cater to that audience too. So I need to be able to bottle bright. I haven't got a bright tank. We can't afford a bright tank yet. These fermenters allegedly will take pressure, but looking at the welds on them, I wouldn't even try it. They're old. I could probably get them tested and repaired, but by the time I've done that, I might as well save up for a bright tank, I suppose. So is there another way? Yes, there is. We keg, carbonating keg. It's clear in the keg anyway. And then find a device to bottle from keg. And that's the Duo Filler. My concern was, the reason for the contact with Stig there, is I can't get the temperature down to 2-3 degrees for bottling. I can go as low as 9-ish. So at 2.2 to 2.4 volumes of CO2, my question was, is that going to work with their kit? And at 9 degrees, he says yes, he thinks it will. So we'll go for it. So this batch of Lockie brewed yesterday, the double, the kegs that we produce from that, some will be sold as kegs, some will be used to fill the bottles. All it does is creates a bit more washing up, but that's all right. If we got a clear beer in a bottle as a result, that's well carbonated, then perfect. So that's the plan. Spanners. It's a good job these hoses are insulated, otherwise I might burn my fingers. Where's my spoon? Can't find anything. Giant spoon. Massive giant spoon. Right, I've packed my camera away without finishing today's story. I've had 2 customers in today, bought bottles. I've told them they're slightly undercarbonated, but that's okay. So we've had a bit of a move around, and it's all nice and shiny now, nice and clean. Do the beer first. So we've got a double Lockie, 660 litres, going in bottles, casks, kegs. Kegs first, then bottles. We have the Murgy we did on the 30th of April. That has been dry hopped. It will be crash cooled on Tuesday and racked into cask on Saturday. We have batch 39 cross stout, cooked today. Everything is clean, lovely jubbly. Floor's been jet washed. Bits of it coming up now, look. We knew that would happen. It was just a quick way to get it going. And then obviously what you can see over there is the table swizzed background 90 degrees. So we've got an extra couple of feet of space there. And once that lot is gone, we've got a really nice, if I just stand by the mash tun, we've got a really nice space down the middle there for a little occasional tap room. The tiny tap. Teeny tiny tap. You'll notice there were 8 casks of Murgy there. They've gone into the cold rooms now because it's warm today. I don't know why. It's a bit stuffy. So, the back of the truck is full of grain. That's my bin bag. Must remember to throw that. The back of the truck is full of grain. These tubs are roughly 1 sack each. So we've got to get those down to Jonny's now And if he's around, he might let us have a look at the cows. But if he's not, he's promised me soon we'll do that. Right, chuck that in the bin and go in.